Level 1. The Spare. You're 6 years old, at your brother's christening, wearing a sailor suit, watching cameras point at everyone but you. A nanny tells you to smile anyway. You learn to perform invisibility before you learn to read. You have a title, a security detail, and a bedroom bigger than your friends' houses. You also have a permanent rank, backup.
Tutors correct your posture, not your homework. Your brother gets the future. You get the practice runs, the rehearsals for a throne you'll never sit on. At 8, you ask your mother why people clap louder for him. She doesn't answer. She just holds your hand tighter. You learn that love and rank are not the same thing in this family, and only one of them is guaranteed.
Level 2. The Teenage Royal. You're 14, photographed leaving a chemist's shop, and by morning, a tabloid has built an eating disorder story out of a candy bar. You have a press office whose entire job is managing your face. You also have zero say in what they release. Your phone is monitored for security. Your diary is read by people who report to people you've never met.
A boy you trust sells your private messages for £2,000. You stop telling anyone anything true. At a state dinner, an ambassador bows to your brother and barely glances at you. You smile through it, because cameras are always rolling, and a flinch becomes a headline by breakfast. You learn the family motto nobody says aloud: feel nothing visibly, ever.
Level 3. The Working Royal. You're 22, opening a hospital wing with a ribbon and a rehearsed smile. You have real influence now. A charity with your name raises £40 million a year. You also have a calendar you don't control, 200 engagements annually, each one scripted to the minute. You meet a dying child and tell her something private, off script, just for her.
A nurse records it. It airs that night, with subtitles. You stop saying anything unscripted again, even to dying children. 3 newspapers calculate your cost to the public weekly, down to the penny. You fall in love. The palace runs a background check on her before you've told your own mother. You learn that love in this family is vetted before it's allowed to exist.
Level 4. The Heir Apparent. Your father dies. You're suddenly first in line, and the role you spent decades watching from outside is now yours to inherit, not earn. You have unprecedented access. Briefings, ministers, the Prime Minister returning your calls within the hour. You also have zero privacy left at all. Even your bathroom schedule is logged by protection officers.
Your own brother, the Spare now, stops speaking to you over an inheritance dispute neither of you will discuss publicly. You give your first major address. 40 million people watch your hands for tremors. They find one. It trends for 3 days. You learn that grief, performed badly on camera, becomes a national referendum on your fitness to lead.
Level 5. The New Monarch. The coronation happens. You're crowned in front of 1 billion screens, wearing a 5-pound crown that gives you a headache by hour 2. You have ultimate ceremonial authority, your face on currency, your name in every courtroom in the country. You also have no actual political power.
You sign laws you privately oppose without comment, ever, by constitutional law. Your approval rating drops 12 points after a single photograph of you looking bored at a ceremony. Your own children start receiving the security briefings about threats against your life that you once received about your father's. It's a very expensive, very public leash. You realize the crown isn't power.
Level 6. The Wartime Sovereign. A war breaks out during your reign, and your role becomes symbolic survival, visiting bombed streets. Your composure the only message you're allowed to send. You have the power to steady a frightened nation just by appearing in public, unharmed. You also cannot say a single political word about the war by law, no matter how badly you want to. A soldier dies the week after you shook his hand on camera.
A newspaper invents a quote from you about his sacrifice that you never said, and can never deny. His mother believes it. You write to her anyway, by hand, at 2 a.m., knowing she'll never trust the words are really yours. You learn that symbols absorb grief and blame that was never theirs to carry.
Level 7. The Aging Monarch. You're 78, and your hands shake now for real. Not from nerves, but from age. The cameras zoom in on anyway. You have 7 decades of accumulated authority.
Historians study your reign as a single, settled era. You also have outlived your spouse, 2 siblings, and most of the friends who knew you before the crown, leaving almost no one who remembers who you were underneath it. Your eldest waits, visibly, audibly. In interviews, journalists keep needling him about. You catch him practicing his coronation speech in a mirror once. Neither of you mentions it again. You learn that the family motto, performed for 70 years, has become who you actually are now, all the way down. Level 8, the former monarch. You abdicate, or you simply step back. The papers can never agree which word to use, and you stop correcting them. You have, for the first time in your life, an actual private hour, alone, with the curtains open.
You also have nothing else. No engagements, no briefings, no purpose anyone assigned you since birth. Your successor's office stops returning your calls within a week. Politely, professionally, completely. Your old portrait is moved 1 room further from the entrance to make space for the new one. A grandchild visits and asks what you actually do all day. You realize you don't have an honest answer. You learn that the throne was the only structure that ever told you who you were, and it's someone else's now.
Level 9, the Dowager. You are the last living link to an era 3 monarchs ago, wheeled out for centenary photos beside people who barely remember your reign. You have legendary status. Children's books are written about you now. You also have almost no one left who knew you before the title, before the performance. Before any of it began, a new nurse asks, gently, if you used to work for the palace. You don't correct her. You let the question sit, because for 1 second, it sounds like she's asking who you actually were. You learn that the crown outlives the wearer's relevance, long before it outlives the wearer. Level 10, the ancestor. You're a name now, painted on a wall in a palace corridor, a single sentence in a textbook a bored teenager skips to get to the test. You have permanence, your face on a coin, still in someone's pocket. You also have no say at all in how you're remembered. The family rewrites your reign's meaning every few decades to suit the current one. A child stands at your portrait, 6 years old, in a sailor suit, watching cameras point at someone else entirely. She doesn't know your name. She knows exactly how the story goes. The system continues.